Hello and welcome to this chess endgame review entitled Super Diagonal. And excuse me, we'll see here why it's called Super Diagonal. In this position, it's White's turn to move, and he has one move that can save a draw here. And so it looks like White is losing here, as the black king is stopping this white pawn from promoting on c8, and black's pawn is here on h5, out of reach of this king and ready to march on up to h1 here and promote. So it looks hopeless for White, but he does have one move that can save a draw here. Can you find the answer? What is the move here? Feel free to pause the video if you need to, and I will turn on the analysis here and we'll see how White proceeds. Okay, the evaluation here is equal, and we see that one move here is king to g7. And so it looks almost impossible that he'll be able to stop this pawn. And so if the pawn marches forward, the king just moves down this diagonal here, the diagonal down the center of the board, or super diagonal here, that allows him to hold the draw. And if the pawn continues to march, well, then he veers off and supports his pawn. And so if the pawn continues, he just continues, and then they both have queens. But the reason the white king moved here to e6 was in case the black king tried to stop the pawn, then white could move over and support his pawn to help it promote. And another variation that's possible is after king to g7, moving down this diagonal. Another option is if the king immediately attacks this pawn. Well, once again, we have king to f6. And if the black king captured this pawn, then white would be able to move here to g5. And if the black pawn moved, white could capture and we'd have a draw. So if black moves forward, then we have king to e5, going further down this diagonal, keeping an eye on this pawn, but also being able to switch back and capture this pawn. So now, once again, if the black king captures on c6, then white can jump into the square of the pawn here and be able to move down and capture this runaway pawn on the h file. And so the game may continue with h3. And now white switches back to help promote this pawn. And if h2, we have c7, and both sides once again can promote, and it will lead to a draw. And so I thought that was quite an interesting example of using this diagonal down the center of the board where it looked hopeless for white, but he was able to keep an eye on his own pawn and the runaway pawn of his opponent on the h file. So in the end, he saved a draw. And I hope examples like this will help you out in your own games to think a little bit before you make a quick move. There may be an even better move hidden in the position. And so if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and feel free to leave comments or suggestions. Also, once again, the 150th video for this channel will be coming up here soon, and I encourage you to leave a comment with your vote for the greatest chess player of all time, and then I will do a video for the 150th video that will feature a game review of whoever everybody picks as their greatest player of all time. Will it be Magnus Carlsen or Kasparov or Fischer or an older world champion like Capablanca or even Lasker, who held the title for 27 years, I believe, or Paul Morphy, who was one of the greatest players of all time, but his career was very short. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you and have a great day.